Welcome back, kids, to math. We're in Math Expressions Grade 4, Unit 7, Lesson 5. We're simplifying fractions, and we're in the workbook on page 350. So in our last lesson, we were making equivalent fractions, fractions that measure the same amount as 4/8. So we want to find another way to express that. And we can use our times table to help us, or we can use our multiplication in our head. So what we do to the top, we do to the bottom. That was the mantra of the last lesson. It continues here. So let's pick a number. Let's go with a number that's easy to work with. How about 2? What I do to the top, I do to the bottom, so they both have to be 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Now I can check myself by looking over here and using our times table. Now they've whited out everything because this whole section works with 4 and 8. You can see them here as answers, and you can see it here as part of the equation here. So if I look across to times 2, look, it's 8 and 16, 8 and 16. They line up if you use the times table. So let's use another one. Let's go with something bigger. How about 8? Try solving that one. Pause the video and then come on back. I'm going to assume you pause the video and you're ready to move on. 4 times 8 is 32, and 8 times 8 is 64. Now if you look here, 4 times 8 is 32, and here's 64. They line up and down. Now the same thing is true when we're trying to simplify. That means we're trying to find smaller terms. So from here we're going from 20 down to 4 and 40 down to 8. Another way to think of this is to flip it. Instead of saying 20 divided by something is 4, invert the division and think, what's the inverse? Multiplication. 4 times something is 20. So I'm going to look here at my 4, I'm going to look for 20 and look up. That's 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Yes, indeed, and they line up. Another way to look at this is to look for the pair up and down. So one other way, let's use that looking at the pairs that line up and down. We have 36 and 72. Can you find them in the times table? Right here. You've got it. And if I look straight up, I'm going to see it's 9. But I can still do that inverse of division, which is multiplication, and say 4 times something is 36. 9. 4 times 9. And then 8 times 9 is 72. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Now pause the video, and I want you to try these two problems. All right, I'm going to assume that you've had time to look at it. I'm going to use the inverse. 4 times something is 12. That's 3. And yes, 8 times 3 is 24. Did you get it right? Great! Let's use the inverse again. 4 times something is 24. That's one of my favorite math problems. 4 times 6. And if I check the bottom, 8 times 6 is indeed 48. We got it. Now we're going to look at some more problems. We're going to skip, and we're going to skip down to this practice simplifying fractions. Now how this works is you need to find all the fact families for a problem. So 8 has the fact family of 1 times 8 and 2 times 4, and that's really all there is. We're not going to look at this 1 times 8 because it's just going to be the same number, because if I put 1 on the top, it's just going to be 8 divided by 1 is 8. It's going to give me the same thing. So we're going to look at this. And when I do 10, I'm going to come out with 2 times 5. 10 cannot be divided by 4, and 8 can't be divided by 5, which leaves me with the common terms of 2. Both of these numbers can be divided by 2, so go ahead and divide that. 8 divided by 2, 4. 10 divided by 2, 5. Now give a try to this one. Think about the fact families that are 6 and the fact family that is 8. We have 6 is 2 times 3. 8, 2 times 4. If you said the 2's are common, you've got it. 2's are common. 6 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2. 3/4. So now, pause the video. I want you to try finding the common terms for 25 and 26. All right, come on back. Now when I look at the common terms for 15, there's really only one. 3 times 5. 40 has a few others, but what I'm going to think to myself is, rather than factoring all these out, let's go short. There's only 2 problems here, 2 numbers here, so let's see if those work. Does 3, can you divide 40 by 3? Nope. All that's left is 5. So you should come up with an answer of 3 and 8. 3 times 5 is 15 and 8 times 5 is 40. Now on the next problem, we have 10, 2 times 5. There's really not a whole lot more besides 1 and 10, and we're not doing that one. So for 12, I'm sorry, you can't see. There we go. 10 is 2 times 5. For 12, 5 does not work. The only one left is 2. And you should be able to solve. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. You should have come up with 5/6. All right, let's do a couple from the bottom row. Now there's more than one option for these. So if I look at 8 divided by 12, there's 2 different options that might come up. So I'm going to pause it. Please pause the video. I want you to try 27, 28, 29, and 30, and then come on back, and we'll talk about it. All right. Should be coming back to me. There are 2 fact families for 8, or 1 fact family, and that is 2 times 4. When I look at 12, can 12 be divided by 2? Yeah. Can 12 be divided by 4? Yep. So those are your 2 options. If you did it by 2, here's what your answer would be. 4/6. If you did it by 4, your answer would be 2/3. Both problems for 4th grade are correct. Now when you get to 5th grade, you're going to find that they want you to find the lowest common terms, which that's this one. Do you see how the numbers are as small as they can possibly go? And that's by choosing the largest possible number over here from the fact group here. This is the largest number, so that's going to give us the smallest common terms. For the next problem, for 20, there are 2 options, because 20, when you do the multiplication on 20, you're going to come out with 2 times 10, and you're going to come out with 4 times 5. Actually, there's three choices here for this one. 30 is an even number, so 2 works. 30 works with 10. 30 works with 5. 4 doesn't work. So you could have chosen any of those. So here's what that would look like. If you pick the largest number, which is 10, you're going to come up with the answer 2/3. Because 10, I can knock off a 0. I can knock off a 0, and there's where the answer would be. And if you went with the next one down, would be a 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 30 divided by 5 is 6. You could have had that one. And the next one down that you could have done was 2. And 2 would have given you 10/5. So let's take a look at 40. 40 has a lot of options available. Here are all the choices for 40. You would have 4 times 10, 5 times 8, or 2 times 20. All of those work. But when I look at 100 as being my other choice, 20 works, 2 works, 5, 4, 10, 8 does not. That's the only one that doesn't work out of this. My largest number would be 20, so I'm going to work with that one first. 40 divided by 20 gives me 2. Sorry. And 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 gives me 5. Another option would be to do by 10. That's probably one of the easiest, because I just take off a 0 from both sides, and that gives me 4/10. And some of you might have done by 2. That's a pretty common one. 40 divided by 2 would give me 20, and half of 100 is 50. Now, some of you might have done the 5. Oh, I did the 2 again there. But 5 would have given you 5/20. And that would be correct as well. Remember, you only need one of these. You don't have to find all the different ways. Just one is plenty. Now, there's 2 ways that I often see kids solving this one. By 5. And you'll find that it's 15 20ths. The other way is to think like money. And there are quarters here. There are 3 quarters in 75 cents, and there are 4 quarters in 100, 3/4. This would actually be the lowest common terms, but those are the 2 most common answers that you're going to find. Most of you did. Now, again, you can do, you don't have to do them all. You only need to find one way for our 4th grade math. So you're going to see problems like this on your homework. You're going to see problems like this on your homework, and you're going to see some remembering like this on your homework. I hope this turns out to be goes well for you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.